friends, I'm Dipali Bedi. Today I'm going to talk about division of shared responsibilities doing the household chores. Household chores for centuries have been seen as a female's responsibility at least. So if it is done or not done, the question would go to the female and not to the men. The men can only be asked to provide support or money. This is how has been the traditional division of roles of both the partners, which have been questioned from some time by the females, but wasn't having a huge impact till this COVID happened. And this actually did come as a change, because interestingly, the other thing which man would provide is the money to organize the support, to get workers to do household chores for us, the cooks, the maids, etc., babysitters and stuff like that. During the COVID time, most of us had to let go them because they couldn't travel, except the ones who were staying with the people. So in this scenario where the supports, all the helps that we had at home had to be let go, or at least the amount of help we were used to had to be let go, the responsibility and the household chores of every house increased multifold. And that's where I think most of even the larger society talking about the fact that the men need to actually pitch in now as a workforce into the household chores, and specifically where both the husband and wife are working, or the female has a huge responsibility of a small baby which needs to be taken care of somewhere or the other. But interestingly, if men get uncomfortable when females start working and they come into their professional life, so is it difficult for a female? Because household chores, we would like them to do things for us, but we might not be very comfortable with an idea of how they do it. Because they might be messy, they might still be experimenting because they're still at the initial stage of doing it, or they might be having a different way of organizing it. And females who have been used to organizing the house for so long get very uncomfortable. So one is obviously during this time, I think this needs to continue, because we are anyway saying COVID would bring a change which would be long lasting. So one thing is that if we females have stepped into the professional world and we want them to be comfortable with the idea that we are there, so have we to be comfortable with the idea they would be there in the kitchens and in the house managing things which might not be managed your way, or your mother's way, or how you think is right, because they might have their own ways of managing things. They might like the food in a different way. They might initially, to begin with, might preferably make tasty food and not hygienic, not healthy food. Hygienic, yes, we would want them to be, not, but we cannot pressurize them that it isn't that healthy. So we have to be comfortable with that. So that is one thing, we have to get comfortable with the idea that they would like to organize the room differently. They would like to organize the house differently. They would sweep and mop maybe differently. They might do the cooking work differently. So one is giving them space to do things. But second thing is also how the division of the work would happen. Division of the work should actually be dependent on what are the strengths, what would a person be comfortable with, and how much time in hand they have, how much work they have to manage. So different people might choose it differently. If there's an elderly person who needs a lot of physical holding and stuff like that, we would like the man to maybe do that. Then comparatively the other tasks. So it depends. It depends on the responsibility, but it needs to be discussed, negotiated, and formed in a very systematic way. certain things can be even shared, like it might be an alternate schedule. One day I do it, one day you do it. I might do the dishes one day and maybe the cooking on the other day, and the other way opposite around, that you do the cooking on one day and the dishes on the other day. So there can be different ways of scheduling it, but it is important to let that schedule happen. So one is the females letting go that authority that when they are doing it, they'll do it their way. They are not your ultimately. That's what we have been craving throughout our lives, that females are not maids to do it your way. So are not they your maid servants that would do it your way. They'll do it their way. We can have negotiations around the idea that why we do it in a certain way. If there is a logic behind it, maybe that can be understood and that can be shared. But we have to let go that control. We have to allow them into that space. And second is obviously seeing each other's strengths, seeing each other's space, and then negotiating as to how it be scheduled. And obviously, let's be appreciative of each other's. They are doing it for the first time, a lot of things maybe. So can we just maybe pamper them like if we would have done it with the kids? So that would actually boost their desires to help us more. So that's how we can do it well. That's my take on that. I would love to hear from you all. Thank you.